Hello, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Harold Owens, specifically the third, that'd be six. And if you're new to the channel and don't know who Harold Owens is, that's slightly weird, but thank you for clicking the video. I will let you know who I am, who I've been, who I'm going to become, maybe. And to those who know Harold, uh, hey man, sorry I've been gone for a long time. It's been probably 6 years since I even touched this YouTube channel, and I have remorse. I'm sorry. Though I did like the time away from social media, I want to be back on, at least to the extent that I could be more open and share what I've been doing and what I'm going to be doing. So that's the plan. Channel is not going to be incredibly focused on one thing. Like, it could just be a yo-yo channel, but honestly, not most of my videos will be yo-yoing. I'm going to definitely do it. Probably have some tutorials in line, just updates, freestyles. I might learn a trick or two on camera, real time. But for the most part, I will be just talking about what interests me, what I might want to discuss or bring to light from my own life. So expect that. More videos in the future. It just felt weird to do a video that wasn't this one. You know, I might as well give an update. So this is my update, all right? I think the last time I posted was 5 or 6 years ago, and it was yo-yo related content. But that was from a dorm, really an apartment off campus in University of Michigan, because about 5 or 6 years ago, I was in the grad program for doctorate degree. So I went to the University of Michigan in the Rackham School of Chemical Engineering for a PhD in some sort of nanotech, I think was my field. Though the first like year and a half, you're really just learning. But that's where my project went. And I got to about 2 years in with my master's and realized that this was not for me. School is stressful. I think many people can attest to that. And for me, the stressful bit wasn't even, I think, what people would assume would be your problem in school, which is like grades, tests. It's like I'm good at that. I could do tests pretty well. I got a lot of practice, and I'm lucky to have very educated parents that helped me get good at school, and then I just kind of got carried away getting better at school. So grades were never my issue, but what I learned in my time in Michigan is, well, two things. One, grad school harder than undergrad, but I think most people could assume that. But also, it is highly collaborative. Like, if you are not networking, meeting people who can teach you things, or that you can teach and can be helpful for you in that teaching process, sometimes that's the best way to learn, then you are kind of doing yourself a disservice, at least speaking from my own experience. It is much better to seek help when you're pressed for time or don't want to tear your hair out, right? Why learn entirely alone what you could get done with other people in less time? Basically, that's the lesson I learned. So I'm just a bit stubborn, and my learning style did not mesh very well with what was necessary in that program. And I was also feeling that the main goal I had, which remains today, which is to be an inventor. I wasn't progressing towards that. And the feeling of not even stagnating, but growing in a direction that you don't want to grow in didn't sit right with me. Now, in retrospect, right, looking back, it definitely could have worked. Like I could have gotten a PhD in some nanoscience or indicator something that I would have made my main thesis, and then done a postdoc somewhere else, met some more people and networked, got a good job. These are all good things that I could have done, but I think had I done that and not been closer to creating something of my own that I was interested in from the start, not like informed about through a grant proposal or kind of fallen into because of, the focus of wherever you end up working, I would have felt held back or stagnant, and that's not something I want. So I took the risk, really, which I'm still taking, of trying to do it on my own, which is ironic because that's kind of what got me into that position in the first place. But I guess I could rephrase. I'm not doing it alone so much as doing it my own way, I guess, is a better way to put it, right? Yeah. So I still have help. I talk to people. I wouldn't even call it consulting, but the people I trust most with things I used to be very private about, paranoid even. I could open up to close friends and family and say, hey, I got this idea or I'm working on this project. What do you think? And then they might suggest something that I hadn't even thought of. Like maybe you could turn it into this type of game or that type of app or make a website to do this or that. And I like that outside perspective because I can easily get kind of tunnel vision and bog down on the details of the problem or the object, whatever that is, and not thinking about how it will fit into the world or solve an existing problem or appeal to a target demographic. I'm usually not thinking about that stuff because I'm just curious, usually. Bored and curious. It's a good combination, actually. If you have both of those qualities in high reserves, you could do some fun stuff. It might be taxing and tedious at times, but the combination of just always asking questions and not wanting to be not doing that, it's a lot of double negative. It's a good driver. It's worked for me because I am pretty much always busy. Not busy work and not even work that I don't find fulfilling. It's fun for me to think of problems and not stop thinking about them, I guess is how my brain works. Eventually, I do get to stop thinking about it once I've written down enough to where I feel that I wouldn't forget the finer details. But in those first couple of weeks when I'm approaching it, like I got to get all the thoughts out and see what's been done and try to learn from those things. So I've been speaking very vaguely, but basically it's been 5 or 6 years since I left the state of Michigan. I'm back in my home state, which I won't immediately dox, but a little research would probably find the general area. And I've been here now in the state for 4 years. And of those 4 years, 3 of them have been dedicated to mostly one idea, which is a first for me. Usually it's like 4 months max on one idea or project, and then I move on to the next one. But I realized, especially after leaving school, that I have to try with pretty much all my heart and might and mind something. At least one thing, 100%. And it's hard to do when you have what you think are 30 things you could do, right? That you would be happy working on for years, but you got to choose one. And I ended up, I almost said settling, but it wasn't. Looking back, this was one of the harder choices. I could have picked an easier one. But I ended up picking a... See, then this is where the privacy comes in, because though I'm no longer paranoid about the project, I am still pretty private, and for good reason. If you're working on something that you think is new and creative and potentially useful, you generally don't want to out it before you've made it. And I've had several years to do it. I'm referring to it. I could say slightly more clearly. And hey, this is a guy. Rabbi, come here, buddy. All right. Well, I might as well explain. That's my doggy, Rabbi. He's currently in a cone and a diaper. Unfortunate. But don't be worried. He's in good health. He just has terrible allergies. And I was hoping, now that it's a bit frosty, that would have abated a bit, but he has it bad. So he's got to be in the cone to protect his soft, fleshy bits, mainly his eyes, ears, nose, and mouth, because he will scratch those up. And then you got to clean him up. Gets infected. It's a whole thing. The cone is an incredible invention I wish I was around for. And then you may have noticed he's also in a diaper. That is not allergy related. That's just a separate problem that he has called incontinence, which means he drips a little trail of pee at the most inopportune time. So I'm running out of paper towels. I figured I'd just spend the extra, $25 up front and just have diapers for the guy. So now he's a coney boy and a diaper boy. And he's sitting by the door like he wants to go out. But I'm not done recording. And also, Rabbi, you went out like 20 minutes ago. He should be fine. With my luck, he pees on camera and I look bad, but... Anyway, where was I? Update, project. Okay, yeah. Slightly more details. It's a mixture of two fields that I wasn't really into when I got into grad school, and funnily enough are now kind of consuming my life, and that's telecommunications and cryptography, which is a fun overlap. Not one I thought I'd be doing research in, but it's the one that I'm kind of putting all my eggs into. Though I have spare eggs, so I guess it's not all of them. Most of them, and a lot of my time, onto a project that I'm hoping I can actually patent. That would be a dream kind of come true, even though in researching the patent process, I know that that is not the end. That's just like one step towards the very beginning of actually potentially making a business around IP or selling it, licensing it. There are many options you have once you've gotten it. The question is, how do you get it? And the question before that was, what do I make? But I answered that one. But the patent still remains something I need to secure. And to do that, you need a patent application, obviously. You need a process, a novel one, something that hasn't been done or would not have been done with previously existing stuff and like a reasonable person with some knowledge. And if you clear both of those hurdles and make a good enough application, you could get a patent. And that's essentially a little piece of paper from the US government that says, you made this thing, and if anyone else makes it, you can badmouth them on Twitter or something. I think it's called a cease and desist. But the main thing is you kind of own that IP for a temporary time period. And I think it's like maybe 10 years, maybe 15. I doubt it's that long, the coverage. So the timer starts once you make that application. You got to use the 10, 11 years to really get a head start on whatever field you are trying to enter or expand. So that's the goal. I've written thousands of lines of code. That was a fun skill to learn. I didn't know how to code. Didn't know how to code before I started the project, and then when I realized I did need a computer to do a lot of stuff, that's when I realized I also needed to learn how to get the computer to do things. And I would be exaggerating to say that I'm like a competent computer programmer. I'm just able to do what I needed for my project, which was basically learning like some C++, JavaScript, mostly Python, and whatever language Arduino uses, which I think is also C++. I learned how to build some simple circuits, so that was fun. Not an electrical engineer, but the project required both of those things, so I learned them, and that's entirely outside of school. So this is, I guess, advice for other people who might be in a similar situation. Go to school. You thought I was going to go the other way and say, look at me, I don't need it. But I think the reason I can do what I'm doing right now, pursuing a passion of invention, is because I did go to school. I learned skills that I could pivot into other fields. I could have doubled down on the skills I got, but learning skills is a skill. So that's why I suggest school. Even if you never use what you learned, you can use the networking skills you got at that time. You can take with you the people that you've met. Maybe someone you know is going to be that person that helps get your resume in to a place that you wouldn't have applied to even with your degree. So school is cool, but bucks sucks, I guess, if I tried to rhyme it, because money is funny for some people. I was lucky to have full scholarships for undergrad and grad school, but that is not everyone. So if you have to choose between, $100,000 or more of debt and just like YouTube videos of a very specific thing that you'd like to learn, maybe consider the YouTube, because there's a lot of open source knowledge out there for people just waiting to seize it. So try that. It is currently working for me. I can't say it has worked because I'm still in that process of trying to make what I set out to create. Okay, so that's school. Patent stuff. I'd like to start a business around it. That would be great. I'm thinking like, fingers crossed you get the patent. Then you've got options. You can start being more open with collaboration. Consider starting a business around the IP or licensing it to a different company. There are many options, but first secure the patent, and that's been basically my goal for 3 years. And even before that, I'd say 6 years ago, I also wanted, I just didn't know what the idea was. So I was just like, I'll just go to school, become a doctor, and then I'll be an inventor or be closer to being an inventor. And sometime during the process, I realized you can do it now. And you don't necessarily need these things that you thought you needed for a amount of time that is unclear, right? Is it going to be 10 years before I really make that first step towards a certain idea of mine? Like, looking back, right, with retrospect, it definitely could have worked. But for the person I was at the time, it was not right. And I'm all right with that. That takes some kind of self-growth, personal knowledge, which does not come easy. And I'm still learning that whole process. But I'm just speaking from experience. But it only works for me in my situation. Use what you can from my story, I guess, in your own story as it still unfolds. So aside from my dog who's laying down there in his little bed, and my time at school, my time away from school, projects I've worked on. Yo-yo friends, maybe, who don't want to hear all this backstory. I mean, you're 20 minutes in, so I guess you want to hear it. But you may also want to know that, yes, I do still yo-yo. I keep one on me. I stay strapped. This is just the closest one to my desk. It is the Zen 2 by SW Yo-Yo. I think this is a Korean brand from years ago. I don't even remember where I got that, but a great thing about collecting yo-yos is you forget what you have. And so it's like you found a dollar bill in an old jacket pocket. Every time you find a new one, you're like, ooh, I haven't seen this in a long time. And then you play it for weeks. At least that's what I do. So I do still yo-yo. What else are my interests? I got a guitar right here. I won't put any riffs on you because I'm not plugged in and it would sound like crap. But yeah, yo-yo, guitar. I beatbox still to this day. I think I'm probably like maybe a decade in now. Yeah, maybe more than a decade. So I've been yo-yoing for probably 15 years, beatboxing for 10-ish, playing guitar for probably also 10. Walk the dog, even though outside is his mortal enemy. He still likes walks for some reason. And with the channel, my goal is not very focused, if I'm to be honest with myself. I've been writing down YouTube video ideas, and what I'm realizing is that I do not have like a clear focus for that channel. I may end up rebranding it a bit because I think you see Harold Owens, you're like, oh, yo-yo video, which I will have. I'm not abandoning yo-yo content. I'm just saying if you showed up for yo-yo content, I might be disappointing people, and I know that's not good for the algorithm. So with full transparency, it would probably be closest described as a variety channel, maybe vlog personality style, because I do like yo-yo. I would love to do more like freestyle videos, trick tutorials, maybe even react to videos that I haven't seen, some that I have seen. I could learn tricks on video, brain twister. There's many things I could do and plan to do with yo-yo on the channel, but also many other things that aren't yo-yo related. So for example, I mentioned I beatbox. I think it would be cool to beatbox on the channel, show you some maybe original sounds, original tracks, come up with new beats on camera, might be fun, and also of course react to other beatbox videos. That would be cool. I could even do some covers of my favorite songs. I'm a bit of a rock head, so don't expect a lot of C major, G chord transitions. I'm all about those power chords, baby. A lot of chugga-chugs and deedlies. So I might be doing guitar content even on the channel. Another interest of mine, which you could probably pick up from the fusion of telecom and crypto, but the actual crypto, not, gosh dang it. The cryptocurrency just totally ruined the term crypto because it used to mean like cryptanalysis, which is kind of paired with cryptology and encryption. So yeah, no, crypto now does not mean what it used to mean, and that's fine because language changes. But when I say crypto, I'm talking cryptography. So a cool pairing of those things. You could probably deduce that I'm pretty into math. It's a passion of mine, even though my undergrad was chemistry. Right now, I'm more of a pure maths guy, which is fun. Less upkeep. All you need is paper is pretty nice. Computers help though. So I could do even like math related content, which would be very left field if you showed up for yo-yo tutorials. So just full disclosure, I wanted to say up front, the direction of the channel may seem aimless, but it is very aimed at just being open about my interests and what I'm doing now and what I plan to do in the future. So if you would come along with me on that journey. I'm Harold Owens the third, and until next time, thanks for watching.